Welcome, friends, to the Gaijin Animation Appreciation Hour with your hosts, Sig Bisley and Colt Mauser. Before we get started, please be sure to like this video and subscribe for more content just like this. Now, let the animation appreciation commence.
It's the end of another week. I'm glad to see it go because it was hot as fuck. I've been outside all week.
Welcome to August.
Yeah, fuck August. I'm looking forward to fall. I'm pretty much always looking forward to fall. That's the way it is.
Well, August is the February of summer.
Yeah, it is.
You know what I mean?
The two most insufferable months.
You're kind of done with it at that point.
Very true. But instead of listening to me whine, you can listen to me talk about all the crap I watched this week, which more than normal. Devilman. My favorite, probably my favorite dub in all of anime ever. So we'll get down on that. And the Blu-ray rip of it is like really fucking good.
And not Crybaby. If you want to watch like the best Devilman, just watch Devilman Crybaby.
That's true. Listen, I think you're selling regular Devilman short.
Regular Devilman's actually not that bad. The dub actually makes it worse than it is. It's pretty damn faithful to the manga. And Go Nagai had a lot of involvement.
God,
so.
It's like the worst, most hilarious voice cast ever.
Right.
Anyway, what was the other thing?
Love, Death, and Robots.
Oh, yeah, we finally finished all the seasons of Love, Death, and Robots, so we'll get down on that. But before any of that, it's news time.
All right, so there's not a ton of news this week, but man, there's some big news this week. So the first one, right off the bat, Right Stuf is getting bought out by Crunchyroll.
Good for them because they're an awesome mom and pop company. Terrible for us.
Agreed. I agree on both fronts. Now,
because Right Stuf has been holding it down, like small company forever, like very fan oriented, very good company.
Yeah, so I worry that there's going to be an effect.
Which means they're owned by Sony now, essentially, which means they're going to blow.
Which I'm worried about.
Owns.
Let's hope the kind of purging of wokeness will happen apace, and then this won't be a problem. Right away, they're getting rid of their adult stuff, which, I mean, I get it, right? Like, I don't think that's a woke thing. That's just we got to be a respectable company, so we're not going to sell the 18-plus stuff under our banner anymore.
But I don't want them to be a respectable
No,
company.
I don't disagree. But it's the real erotica stuff, right? Like, it's not like the etchy stuff. It's
What's
like
that other company does that?
It's that stuff. You know what I mean?
No,
it's like
there's
the real dirty stuff.
What is the name? There's another company that basically does the same thing Right Stuf does, except they're more.
I don't remember what it's called, but someone will fill that niche. I'm not exactly worried about it.
Somebody already does it. It's like all dirty figures and hentai.
I'm not exactly worried about it, but obviously, this is probably not going to be great, but it doesn't necessarily have to be terrible. Like, this could actually be okay.
It's just kind of a shame.
It gives them more money to license things. I mean, that might be okay. You might get more stuff. You might get more Blu-ray releases. Let's hope.
Yeah,
Let's hope this doesn't mean less releases.
Yeah, but
that would be bad.
If they're owned by Sony, why are they going to license more stuff through Right Stuf? You know what I mean? Like,
they'll license more stuff because they think they can sell Blu-ray copies of it.
I guess.
Ones that streaming will never get you money back for, but
I suppose
if it's a niche audience and you sell 5,000 copies and it costs like pennies to print a fucking Blu-ray.
Yeah, I don't know. I just hate when a big company buys a small company because they always ruin it.
Yeah, it doesn't tend to work out. So,
anyway, R.I.P. Right Stuf. You've done me solid for.
Well, I'm not gonna R.I.P. him yet.
For 30 years practically.
I'm not gonna R.I.P. him yet, but yeah, they're a good company. I mean, I really hope this doesn't ruin them. I hope this actually is good, but I'm not. Hope's not a strategy, and I'm not gonna hold my breath.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's the big news. Sean Kleckner, the CEO of Right Stuf, is gonna join Crunchyroll's organization. Like I said, the one thing I really worry about is the wokening, the corporate wokening of Right Stuf. So we'll see. We shall see. All right, moving on. In the least surprising news of the year, and I really mean this, the least surprising news of the year, Kaiju number 8 is going to get an anime.
No.
Like, no shit. Like, any manga that sells a ton now, it's going to get an anime. Like, you just know that's going to happen.
It was like years ago. It's like, gee, I wonder if they're going to animate Chainsaw Man.
Yeah, exactly. Which Map is doing that, right? So that's Attack on Titan.
They're taking their sweet ass time.
Not Demon Slayer, because I think I was mixing my
Apple's
chocolate
been
peanut
doing
butter.
a lot lately. They're kind
of that's UFO Table.
They're kind of
or
the big
UFO
dick
Table or
studio
whatever.
right now.
Toho streamed it, so I don't know which studio. I don't know if Toho is going to do it or if a different studio is going to do it for them. But obviously this is an early announcement. More news to come. I would suspect it'll be out sometime next year.
Yeah, I doubt it'll take.
Usually they don't announce super far in advance like we do over here in the U.S. So yeah, I don't know. I'm interested. I almost bought the first volume a while back just to kind of get a feel for it. I might do that still. We'll see. But yeah, Kaiju number 8. Again, not surprising. It will indeed be getting an anime, and I'm sure it will come over here and be streamed and et cetera, et cetera. All right, so moving on to some video game news. So
there's always video game news.
And, if you got a Switch, a PS5, PS4, or a PC, so this covers most of the bases, they are giving you a remake of Tactics Ogre. The original Tactics Ogre, Let Us Cling Together, which always had a crazy subtitle name, which has been released on many consoles over the years. I think I own a copy for it on either the Game Boy Advance or the DS. I think it's the Game Boy Advance. I think. Regardless, this shit's been around, but it's a solid damn strategy game.
That's a solid damn game.
It's going to have quality of life improvements, which is always good. It'll have some graphical improvements, although it's not going to be. It's obviously going to have the same aesthetic, like that old school kind of aesthetic. So, I'm excited. I mean, this is a good thing. Like I said, it's coming out on a lot of different consoles, and the PC. So you'll have a lot of options on what you want to play it on. I'm sure it's not going to be so resource intensive that you couldn't run it on a thing like a Steam Deck if you're one of the 5 people that was able to get a Steam Deck.
Right.
Something for like Switch is the perfect thing for it. But I mean PS4 and PS5 as well. So yeah. Obviously if you really wanted to play it, you could just emulate one of the endless versions from the Super Nintendo or the GBA or whatever else. But
it's true.
It's coming out in November 11th. I will probably pick it up. I got a backlog right now of games. Damn you, From Software.
Yeah.
Damn you. But yeah, cool game. Cool Tactics game. Check that shit out when it comes out. Especially for you young bucks out there that don't remember Tactics Ogre at all. Very good game. All right, so speaking of licensure, we were talking about Crunchyroll before and Right Stuf, which has Nozomi, which does licensing, and they're part of the deal too. This has nothing to do with that deal, but Discotek, so another big licensor of stuff, is setting up a whole new label called Toku Time to do tokusatsu stuff.
Oh, nice.
And release it. So the first 2 things are Space Sheriff Gavin, which is
nice,
classic early 80s.
Super awesome.
I have a figure of Gavin somewhere. Oh, man, I didn't even know what it was at the time. Like, what is this awesome robot man?
Right.
He looks so cool.
Yeah, I know.
And then 1977's Legend of Dinosaurs and Monster Birds.
Oh, my God.
I don't even know what that is, but it sounds
fucking amazing.
Awesome. HD transfer. So we'll see how that works with some of the stuff in the 80s that may be on
film
video and not on film. Because with film, you can HD transfer a hell of a lot easier. But that Legend of Dinosaur and Monster Birds is going to be out later this year. It's going to have an old English dub that was done for it, apparently. I didn't even know that had happened. There's a lot of stuff that came out in like the 70s and 80s that I wasn't even aware of.
Yep.
This kind of guy in suit stuff it really took off
it's
over here.
I mean, it's genius.
Yeah.
It's so cheap to make. You could easily redub it. I mean.
So, and Gavin's going to be out in October. So both of them will be out this year. I can't believe it says it's the first English release. I almost can't believe that because
I remember they had toys over here back in the day. So that seems odd.
I figured it'd be one of those things that would have got at least swept up with that like 90s binge in the wake of Power Rangers, right? Because you remember they had like Mask Rider for a minute, and they had
they were just kind of throwing everything at the wall.
Beetleborgs or whatever. They had a bunch of different stuff.
That,
yeah. So yeah, I mean I'm happy because Toku stuff may be silly as hell, but it's good to see. Now this is
it's super fun.
This is 2 older things, so we'll see if you get some of the newer stuff. I'd love to see some of those like
I would buy a box set of all like the really cheesy Kamen Rider crossover movies and stuff.
Oh, those are the best.
That'd be great. Like Kamen Rider Black, I'd love to see that come out. So yeah, we'll see how this develops, like with many things. But I'm glad that there's now a dedicated, kind of label.
They probably just ended up, because sometimes when they buy licenses for stuff, they'll like just throw in extra crap.
Yeah,
with the deal, you know what I mean? They had nothing to do with it, so they're just like, eh.
No, you're not wrong. Like they'll buy bundles of things, get a whole bunch of shit. So yeah, man. Look forward to this from Discotheque, who's always does a good job of bringing out like more of that genre stuff from back in the day.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Love that stuff. All right, so moving on to a bit of crazier news. Not crazier, but more lifestyle news, I guess. So I didn't know this happened in the first place. So one, they built a life-size scope dog from Votoms.
Nice.
It looks freaking awesome. And
I remember some random Japanese guy was working on one like probably 10, 15 years ago.
Well, that was the one that actually moved around. It skated around.
No, it was cool.
This is just like a statue. A lot easier to do because they're only like 12 feet-ish tall.
Yeah,
and
they're not very
60
big.
feet tall.
They're almost a powered suit, a little bit bigger.
So the local town held their Inagi City is the local town, held their Oban festival dance near the scope dog, apparently in the shadow of the scope dog, if you will.
That's hilarious.
Which is pretty cool. So you got this ancient traditional dance, and then you got a scope dog. So hey, why not?
Robot statue. It's
why
fun.
not?
It's very Japanese of them.
So apparently they do this because they're showcasing a lot of the other work of Kunio Okawara.
Yep.
So there are statues in the town of the Gundam and the Zaku. I don't know that those are life-size. I kind of doubt it.
Not, yeah.
Because they don't... I'm not aware that the life-size Gundam was the life-size Gundam. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, the scope dog can be life-size because it's smaller. And then Yatter from Yatterman.
Oh, nice.
is also awesome.
That's funny.
So pretty cool. It's it's one of those things, man. You ever make it over to Japan, put a Nagi City on there. Go check out that scope dog, crawl around on it, check it out. Probably off the beaten path, and not just in the touristy areas. And you might actually be able to go there soon because Japan is starting to finally really loosen things up and not just require a bunch of bullshit.
I imagine they missed the tourist dollars.
I think you're getting this pull between the we need tourist money and the we hate, Gaijin.
We hate Gaijin. Yeah.
Like you got those two opposing forces. So one's gonna have to break, and when they're getting poor, the I hate Gaijin one's gonna break.
Yep.
Don't play to their xenophobia, man. It's not a good idea.
I don't blame them.
Yeah, but I mean, you remember what happened last time.
It's true.
You remember what happened last time.
Xenophobia can go too far.
Yeah.
I guess.
Man, it's like making people aware of their, racial identity in Germany. You just don't do it. It's not a smart idea.
Yeah, I would just keep a lid on that.
Just not a smart idea. All right, so we're gonna get on to the last bit of news here, and this is kind of near and dear to my heart, and something we've talked about a little bit a couple times. So, Bonding Into Comics just did, or at least just posted up a couple interviews that they've done with one with fan translators and one with a professional translator about the state of translation and the problems that are going on, especially with manga translation. Although it happens in anime too, where it's all the stuff you can imagine. Where the fan translators we're crazy. Like we take they take it very seriously. Very minor changes to English phrases just to make sure that it better reflects what the Japanese original is, right? Like they're obsessive about it because they're fans and they care.
Yeah.
But they see what's going on especially with colloquialisms, the things that don't have direct translations.
Yeah,
right? That's always hard. But now you're seeing, and they say it, you're seeing the translators interjecting their own politics and bullshit.
I mean, we've called it out 100 times when we're watching. I think it was probably Attack on Titan. There was a bunch of shit, and I'm like, that does not belong in there.
And and another thing is they're just being lazy and cheap, right? Like part of it is that. Because if someone translated for you and had this stuff in it, but you had an editor that was actually, kind of bird dogging it, you would not have these problems.
It makes a big difference in the story sometimes, too.
But, there are good... That's not to say that everything's bad, right? Like, the studios that care and they're doing kind of the premium products, like, the big releases of Berserk and JoJo's and stuff, like, they're not playing around with any of that, right?
No.
Full Metal Alchemist, like, again, everyone's going to have concerns,
probably mostly like the 12 episode Isekai trash shows.
Yeah, it's certainly nothing like Hokuto no Ken certainly has not had anything in it that has been suspect. Does that mean the translations are exact? Of course they aren't, because it's never going to happen.
There's a lot of Japanese that you just can't translate properly.
Yeah, and everyone's going to have different opinions on it, right? You could probably get 3 translators in there, and they would all disagree on exactly what it should be. So it is what it is. I'm looking at freaking Gut Sword right now. Just
so big.
I'm marveling at another man's sword. No homo.
Heyo.
Well, and how it is exactly the great sword from Dark Souls and Elden Ring and everything else.
Yep.
So yeah, that's there's go check out these interviews. You want to check them out.
They're very interesting.
Yeah, just about the state of the industry and how they're how they see it from their seat, since they're kind of in the same business. A lot of this is like people doing scanlations and stuff. Like a lot of that, it's a niche that's dying more because so much stuff is coming out because the industry is so flush with cash.
Yeah.
Because guess what? Comics aren't dying. As American comic book industry professionals will tell you, no, man, comics are doing great. I mean, they're idiots because it's not their comics, it's Japanese comics, but comics are doing great. I mean, manga right now is as big as superhero comics were when we were kids, maybe even bigger.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
I mean, the only difference is you still can't walk into a freaking Cumberland Farms or 7-Eleven or something and buy manga, right? Like, that was the weird thing, when comics were all on newsstands, that's when you were like, man.
That's what killed comics.
Everywhere. It really
when they took them off newsstands, because comic shops are just not accessible to everyone.
No, and you got to go out of your way, right? Like, even here, where we live in an area that's, pretty tightly packed and there's plenty of opportunities for things like comic shops, the closest comic shop is still 15 minutes away.
Oh, easily.
And
for kids, it's like, if you're not in a city, I would have to ride my bike like fucking 45 minutes.
Yeah, there's not even one in town. Like, when we were younger, there was one in town, but even then, like, it wasn't close.
And a lot of them are just neckbeard hangout dungeons. You know what I mean?
Well, they're just magic,
it's like
places.
Everything's just like
nothing wrong with that, but it's like the comics are second fiddle.
Yeah.
Because they have to be for those stores to stay open. And
a lot of those stores get super cliquey because it's like the same bunch of people are there all the
cliquey.
time. So, you go in, you're a usurper. I don't know. Bad. It's just, I was never a big... I mean, I like comic stores, certain ones, but it's just... it was way better when you could just go into, CVS and grab them. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. I used to remember I'd go to Cumberland Farms and, look at the rack, be like, oh, Spider-Man and X-Men and whatever. And they would do reprints of older runs and whatever else. And
exactly.
It was great.
It was just really easy to get them.
Yeah.
I don't know why they switched from that model. It's really weird.
It's got to be money, right? Like the distribution model. I think, I don't know if it's true or not, but what was it, Diamond Comics? They probably had something to do with it. Right.
I mean, they had a stranglehold.
They're such a shady company.
The distribution of comics for
at least they seem to be a shady
years.
company to me.
Oh, God, there's been people bitching about Diamond I mean, I've known enough people that own comic book stores and heard enough tales of Diamond being, miserable to deal with, so I'm sure they're sketchy as fuck.
Yeah. Yeah, so the last thing I'll say about this one here, too, it's interesting to see the professional translator's point of view, too, because I've been mostly talking about the not scanlator, but the fan translators. I love this quote here. It's just like, what do you think about the current situation? It's like disrespectful. The published version of that story disrespects the author's intent, the original audience, and the translation profession. Mm-hmm. It's true. It's 100% true. Like, if the author wanted their story to be about a transgender woman, they would have written it that way. I mean, it's Japan. He's 100% right.
It's not like that's right. A weird thing to find in manga.
No, exactly. You know what I mean? And that's the most galling thing about it. It's like, You could just literally, if you wanted all that stuff, you could go find a manga that
Manga
is
has
that
every fucking
and translate
niche.
it.
Like every weird thing you could possibly
Yeah,
want.
Japan
It already exists. You
Japan
don't need to
caters
change stuff.
every weird fetish. That's just how they deal. Yeah. So that's again. It's also just people that just don't give a shit about their job. They don't care. They don't care
Yeah, a
about
lot
the
of
property.
it's like
They just don't care about their job.
a lot of it's probably laziness as opposed to actually, willful.
And some of it could be pay too, right? Like it's like we were talking about comic books earlier and that getting lazier, American comic books. But if they're paying you no money, why the hell would you put in any sort of effort, right? Like you're putting the amount of effort that correlates with your pay. So,
and a lot of it like
unless it's a true passion project.
But comics, if it's digital, you could easily you just take the head off something you've already drawn and stick it on it. You can do a lot of
they
wacky
do that a
stuff.
lot, yeah. Oh yeah. Very cheap. So, yeah, like I said, go check these out. They're on Bounty into Comics in the anime section, and it's some good interview here. So, check that out. Anyway, that's the news.
That's it. The news. Okay. Things I watched this week. Lucifer and the Biscuit Hammer. This was basically the get to know Shinonome episode. He's like the knight they picked up, I believe, last episode. Because I think there's got to be 3 or 4. I don't remember. It's been a while. There's a bunch of knights with different talking animals. But he's got a dog, and the dog's an asshole. But anyway.
Sounds about right.
Yui realizes that Shinonome is way too awesome at his job, and he's going to be a problem later if their evil plan to destroy the world works out. So, because he's actually going to be able to stop them. So, he's like, man, I'm going to have to kill that guy.
Oh, you mean first against the wall?
Yeah, basically. Anyway. So, yeah, and Shinonome has a thing for Samidere's sister.
Shocking.
Who's like a college professor.
Shocking.
She's like from the first episode. They introduced her early.
Yeah.
But yeah, same. So, I mean, solid episode. It's all still character building. They haven't got too deep. And Yuhi's still trying to figure out how to use his crazy spirit puddle or whatever the fuck it is. I don't remember.
His spirit power.
I don't remember what they call it. But yeah. So that was that. Call of the Night was same. It seems like Akira. That's the chick he was friends with the end scene forever. It seems like she's basically a main character now. So, like, they went back to...
That's a bold move for any show to pull.
Yeah.
A main character switch.
Well, no, not switch, but, like, she's addition.
Oh, I got you.
You know what I mean?
I got you. So, one of the main cast now.
Yeah, like, she's, like, a permanent...
You say main character, it sounds like they're pulling... Sometimes they do this, man. Bold moves.
Weird. But, yeah, just... Last episode, I was like, oh, maybe this is just going to be a one-episode thing. She'll pop up later, but it looks like she's permanent now. It looks like that's their basic play is, like, her versus Nozuna.
Yeah.
For Ko's affection.
Well, that's classic anime shit.
Yeah. Like, this episode, they all got stuck at Nozuna's house, like, in a rainstorm, and she was, like, weirded out by the blood-sucking.
Another classic trope. Well, not necessarily the blood-sucking piece, but it's caught in a rainstorm.
And it had, like, a ton of that, like, that Monogatari stuff where, like, Nozuna just, like, picks hilarious, like, words that sound sexual but aren't really. Like, when she's talking about stuff, it's super funny. Anyway, it's definitely, I've said this 1,000 times, it's got that same style of Monogatari humor. Anyway, good episode. Black Summoner. Black Summoner is structured oddly. I still hate the video game crap, and I don't know if they're going to shed it anytime soon. It's like in Shield Hero, like, it was like literally the first episode, and they never mentioned it again.
They've kind of ignored it. I mean, not really, but...
Most of them kind of ignore it.
They don't bring it up as much,
like
yeah.
I'm 99% sure the production companies just make them jam it into every fantasy story now just because it sells. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they're the editors for the light novel or the editor of the manga or whatever.
It's just like, okay, we can't sell anything that isn't Isekai, so you have to jam this window dressing onto your already made story.
Put this as a framing device. Like, oh, fuck.
Yeah, exactly. So anyway, Black Summoner is a little odd so far because they, like, jump ahead. Like, there's no... They don't put any...
Do you
like stress.
Do you even get a montage?
No, they put like no
Shame.
stress on training. It's just like they'll skip from episode to episode. It's like, oh, we've been training this whole time off camera, and now we're super powerful.
Everything will feel unearned.
No, I mean, they mentioned that they've been training.
No, but that means it'll feel unearned.
No.
It'll feel unearned. You know it. Because something like Demon Slayer, like, it feels earned because you see them suffering through the training.
Yeah, I guess. I think they're just going. It's not written that great, so I don't even think they thought that far ahead.
Well, that's my point, right? Is like that goes to the bad writing. Is it feels unearned?
Well, I think they're going for
training.
How many times can you do that though? You know what I mean? I think they're trying to do something different where like. Because there's already a fucking demon lord.
Then just
in the
start
land
in media res.
Blah blah blah.
And don't hand wave the training. You know what I mean? Like just start after the person's already trained, and then you can have different struggles. Like I don't know. I'm
I know what you mean.
That feels like poor structuring to me.
It is poor structuring. It's like kind of jarring because it's like, yep. It's like the thing that isekai is usually 100% about. They're just kind of sidestepping it.
Yeah.
Because they want to get right to the like, I have to fight a demon lord shit. Because
I prefer Goblin Slayer, where like someone else is fighting the demon lord over here, and this guy's just shanking goblins.
That's basically how it was. There's apparently 4 other heroes that were summoned. They're like in some other country, and they're really not that good at their jobs.
Oh, so like Shield Hero.
Yeah, pretty much. Very similar. So the only saving grace in the show so far is the head of the guild, because he's always like getting like sneaky information on him and screwing him into doing his bidding. Is kind of funny. But so far it's basically just a big ball of tropes.
Yeah.
It's interesting enough where I don't mind killing 20 minutes on it, but it's not. So far, I feel like they're building up to do something different, but so far it's pretty much samey.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I had a little extra time this week, and I watched on High Dive, there's this random OVA, and the thumbnail looked like, it was like Amano style art. It was like this really cool.
Yoshitaka Amano.
Yes, it was like this really cool, like just picture of a chick in Amano style.
Like Final Fantasy art or old school Final Fantasy art or Vampire Hunter D.
Yep.
Yeah.
So anyway, I was like, this looks
Amano.
like my style. But anyway, I read the description. It's like, all the men in the world have died, and women have to fight over like the last of the male DNA.
Oh,
like that's
why
vague.
the last man?
Yeah, basically, except older.
Not the woke version, the original version.
Yeah, the comic that was actually good. There are consequences to not having dudes around. You got to move your own furniture, bitch. Anyway, so like it intrigued me. I'm like, this is either going to be awful or great or a little bit of both. We'll see. So I watched it, and it's just kind of ridiculous. It was a ridiculous mess of like, they're super vague about everything, right? Like the story starts off the vaguest way possible. They're like, all the men on Earth have died from, and then they just like, it's super vague. Like they show a picture of
question marks.
They show a picture of the Mir. They're like, they're hubris and blah, blah, blah. Basically, the patriarchy made all men die. And it's like, they show a picture of like, remember when Mir crashed?
Yep.
And there's like,
and,
some kind of
really
there's some kind of bio weapon on it or whatever.
Oh god!
And it like wiped out all. And then they're bitching.
So now they got the Andromeda strain in there. Gotcha.
And then they're like bitching about the environment. Like, so all the men are dead, and then most of the women either couldn't take care of themselves or ate all the poisonous food because the environment's fucked.
Why is the environment fucked?
Because the patriarchy. Goddamn it! It's all evil men's fault.
Gotcha.
Anyway.
But all the men are dead now, so who the hell are they going to blame?
Exactly. No, they keep blaming men the entire time.
Oh, good to know.
The entire fucking time.
Do you know who made this? Yasushi Akimoto. You know who Yasushi Akimoto is? It's a dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's the producer of AKB48.
Yeah.
Like, what the hell?
I don't know. It's the weird. It's one of the weirdest.
Very strange.
It's one of the weirdest things I've ever watched. Anyway, so they're bitching. Most of it like starts off just like, I do not understand. Like, the very first scene is just some chick in 1986 that gets hit by a truck.
Yep.
And then it just skips to the super future where all men are dead. And basically there's 2 factions of women that survived. Like, they're both cunty feminists.
Great.
That's the only survivors. Nothing left on this world except the worst feminism has to offer. So one side are the feminists that want to figure out how to make babies without men so they can, like, keep repopulating.
The feminist dream.
Yeah. Anyway, and they basically have, like, their own police force called Guardians. Cops, army, whatever.
Yeah.
A little bit of both.
Crooked cops, got it.
And then the other faction are the Kisaragi clan. They're basically super feminist, eco-Nazi,
great
mega doomers.
Great.
And they're just like, we're just going to dyke it out till we all die because...
That's a helpful strategy.
Because men ruin the earth and we want to just let the earth heal. Like, Shar came in, he was just like, we got to get rid of all the people so we can let the earth heal.
Yeah, but okay. But stop. In Shar's defense, and I can't do a lot of defending of Shar because the guy's the worst. In Shar's defense, there was a strategy for humanity to survive there because humanity was out in the colonies. And the whole idea was get them off of Earth, let Earth heal, and then we could be fine.
I don't know.
No. Well, because this is the thing. I always have this argument with someone at work. Like, I am team human. I am so sick of this weird doomer environmentalist nonsense where it's just like, no, man, for the good of the planet, humans got to die. Like, no, fuck you. I'm team human. That's ridiculous. The planet doesn't care. The planet will be fine even if we completely nuke the place.
I love that, like, people make the planet into a character. Like, the planet is a non-sentient ball of dirt. Like, there's, like, billions of them out there. Who gives a shit?
They make it into its own fucking deity, basically.
Yeah, it's so bizarre. I'm like,
whatever.
The planet is a ball of dirt. Don't worry about it.
And it will be fine.
Anyway.
It survived far worse than we could ever do to it.
So, basically, that's where we're at. And there's all these crazy machines left that the patriarchy built. I'm just going to call them the patriarchy from now on. It's easier. So, team, I want to repopulate the earth with mega lesbians is like, we got all this evil patriarchy technology that we're going to use. And they don't really understand it. A lot of it's half done. There's like these two giant towers.
Very 40K of them.
Yeah, there's this like one thing that they think is going to help them make children somehow, but they don't really they don't explain a lot. It's like everything's super fucking vague. Anyway, I even looked up some stuff on it to try to figure out if I was missing something, but everybody said the same thing, like this is just the vaguest nonsense. So anyway, there's this big contraption. They think it's going to help them like make children or something. They have no fucking idea what it does. But then there's this other science where they were like, basically, now this was an interesting thing. It's like basically a turkey baster with a crack pipe on the end, filled with this like red fluid that's supposed to be like male DNA, and you stick it in your cooch, and that's how you reproduce. So anyway, they inject this stuff like through their cooch, and then they're surrounded by this like giant like ball of ice, and the, like inside like because it's supposed to incubate. It's supposed to protect the female while like it incubates or something.
But that doesn't.
It makes no sense.
That's not how humans work.
It doesn't matter. This is like
Jesus Christ.
Post-patriarchy humans. This is.
Are we already at the point where we could take a person cells from a woman and basically make sperm out of it? Aren't we basally at that point already?
We're pretty close, yeah.
Right? Like
last I read,
we're pretty close. Like
anyway, this
is that an easier solution?
This was 2007.
Jesus,
it was a different time.
Christ.
Anyway, so these crazy ice things, but all the ice things do is make monsters, and that's what makes it wacky.
Okay.
So every time, I don't know. It turns out later that like they're synthesizing all that shit. That's where it comes from.
Yep.
Anyway, so every time they try to do it, there's a monster, and they've got crazy mechs for some reason.
Sure.
They don't do a lot with
Why
them,
not?
but they have crazy mechs to fight these monsters. And then there's
why would they do anything with them? That'd be more interesting.
For some reason, they have these crazy flying machines, and then they strap like old school looking troop transports to the bottom of them, so they look like weird dirigibles. It's the craziest thing I've ever seen. But they try to like jam
very Last Exile of them.
They jam so much weird shit in it, and it like just doesn't really go anywhere. So anyway, like the whole first episode is basically a guardian chick and a chick from the Kisaragi clan. I believe her name is Yuki. They meet up, and Yuki's just trying to dyke it out with this chick hard
Yep.
for some reason. I guess she's like
Yuki Iced Tea.
she's like broken. Like all she knows is hedonism, and the other chick is just like, whoa, dial that shit back. Like, can't we talk first? Like, anyway, their relationship essentially goes nowhere. She's just like a plot device. So the other chick's name is Hitomi, the Guardian. Like, she's just a plot device so Hitomi can, I don't know, fight monsters at the end. But anyway, it turns out that big contraption has nothing to do with making children. It's a terraforming machine that they were going to send to another planet.
Okay.
And if you turn it on, it's basically going to turn the planet's atmosphere back into primordial ooze.
Okay.
And basically kill everybody.
Very Star Trek 2 of them.
So once the Lady Kisaragi, the head of the Doomer cult, learns that, she's like, oh, yes, I'll definitely help you fix that machine. And, like, turns it on. And then they have to stop it. But instead of... I forget exactly what happened, but...
Man, you should tell anybody anyway. Don't be spoiling it.
Nobody wants to watch
The
this.
spoiler is, don't watch this.
The machine turns into a giant monster, and they got to fight it. Listen, I can tell you everything that happened. You still won't understand it, and you still have to, like...
I don't want to.
Watch it to figure it out.
I don't want to. This sounds really fucking dumb.
It's amazingly dumb. I don't even know how it got produced. It's like the weirdest fucking thing. So anyway, it's a crazy mess. It's only a few episodes, though. Like, it's just short enough.
3 40-minute episodes. If you want to watch
No.
That's what it says.
They're actually way shorter than that. Like, they're there, but there's, like, the last episode is literally 20-some minutes long, and then it's, like, literally 20 minutes of credits.
Well, regardless, if you're going to watch 340 or less minutes of things, just go watch fucking Re-Cutie, honey.
That's true.
Way better. It's got all the Yuri you want.
I had to know where this crazy mess was going.
Oh, no, this is exactly the kind of thing I would check out.
Anyway,
we're here to save you.
What was hilarious about it?
Don't watch it.
What was hilarious about it is the whole time they're bitching about the patriarchy, they're literally waging a war. Like, all these clans of women have wiped out all the other women, basically, and there's, like, 2 left. So I mean,
this might actually be secretly based?
Yeah. Oh, no, it is. You know how, like, fucking anime and manga writers hate women. Like,
you're not wrong.
Like, a lot of them. I mean, not hate women, but, like, they're very red-pilled on women, you know, in general. But, yeah, like, as soon as they get the chance, they end up acting exactly like men because that's, you know, there's nothing.
Someone's got to fill the role.
It's post-apocalyptic shit. Like, people got to fight over resources. That's just how it is. Anyway, it was wacky. It has some really neat stuff in it, but it was a fucking absolute mess. Like, I gave you the gist of it, but, like, they don't explain anything. They never exactly tell you what killed the men.
It's okay.
They never explain anything about, like, where any of this technology comes from, why they fucking turn into monsters. Like, it makes no sense.
It's okay. I'll never watch it. And I'm much happier to have not spent my time this week watching that and instead playing Bloodborne.
Anyway, it's on High Dive. If you want to check it out, fine. But I'm basically here to save you the time. Because you're going to get sucked in by that thumbnail because that's like a gorgeous piece of art.
Yeah.
But anyway.
It's a fucking trap.
It is a trap, essentially.
All right. You want to talk some Love, Death, and Robots?
I do. Man, we hammered through that like 3 seasons in one day.
So we watched all of it on Saturday.
Savage.
All of it.
It was really hot out and I didn't want to go outside.
Yeah. So let's talk about... I'm going to go through the episodes. I'm not going to go through all of them. Some of them are completely
Go through the highlights, basically.
Yeah, some of them are
because there were some, like, you know, the standout ones that were, like, really good.
So the first one that I thought was really good, and we watched some stuff in kind of reverse order. And Netflix makes it really hard to rewatch things. It's really dumb.
Yeah, because I'd watched the first season, and he hadn't, so we had to go back and watch the first season. It was a
disaster. So Sunny's Edge was a very good one.
Which one was that?
That was the one in, like, the future where they have the fighting arenas with the... you control, like, the genetically engineered creatures.
Really good, yeah.
That one was cool.
That one, when I watched the first season, that was my favorite of the first season.
And I won't even spoil it other than that. Just, it's picture a cyberpunk future. It's all about a cage fighter, but instead of cage fighting themselves, it's...
They control, like, monsters.
Control giant monsters. The giant monsters are fighting.
Basically, small kaiju.
Yeah. Very cool. Definitely check that one out. That wasn't That wasn't my favorite, but that might be in my top 5.
I think I gave it extra points because like they fake you out and it seems woke. Like I'm like, oh god, here it comes, but then it's totally not.
Oh no, it's
like
a very good story, and it's got a good twist. It's very good. So 3.
It probably has the best twist out of any of the ones we watched.
So 3 robots. Maybe I will go. I might go through all. We'll see.
3 robots was super preachy, and I hated it.
I don't like. It's got some witty dialogue and some like chuckles, but man, it's too preachy. It's too preachy.
It's super preachy, super like doomer.
I do appreciate that they understand that cats will rule the world, but
yeah. That was the only thing that saved it.
That
was
is
like
what it
the
is.
cat jokes.
But there's another 3 robots later. I'm not even going to mention it. It's just
they get progressively
whatever.
worse as you would expect.
Like if you're just trying to watch some of these, Sunny's Edge, put on your list. It's the first one to put on your list. Definitely watch Sunny's Edge.
100%.
So The Witness, don't watch that one. It's barely animated. It was just some guy's excuse to get a really hot girl to run around mostly naked.
If you like really attractive Chinese girls like just running around naked, then that's for you.
Yeah.
They basically filmed it and then just scribbled shit over it.
Yeah.
Like it's not animated.
It's got an interesting idea. It's just it's not great.
But if you like full frontal nudity, it's for you.
Yeah. Or you could just, go to Pornhub. So Suits was good. The animation's a little hard to get used to, but Suits was good. So
yeah,
farmers in space.
That was one of my
on a planet in
faves,
space.
too,
Yeah,
like the first
wearing mech
season.
suits. So put this one on your list. Wearing mech suits or using mech suits, and they're clunky style, like even clunkier than BattleTech style. Not quite as big. Fighting like alien monsters. It's basically a Tyranid invasion.
Yeah, basically.
So that one's really good. Sucker of Souls. That's just a Dracula one. It's whatever.
Oh yeah,
that's a whatever. It's not bad, but it's a whatever. When the yogurt took over, that's a whatever. Completely whatever. Like super sentient, smart yogurt. Like
was that the Dracula one?
The last one was the Dracula one. Sucker of Souls.
That was okay.
It was okay
because that had like the cool like mercenary guys and shit.
Yeah, I'm not saying don't watch it. I'm just saying it's not in my like.
No, it wasn't top tier, but it was
must
definitely
watch list. Sunny's Edge.
It was the top of the second tier.
Sunny's Edge, Suits, and we can disagree. Yeah. Beyond the Aquila Rift. That's neat. That's a neat idea, and the animation is gorgeous.
Yeah.
Where there's a guy in a space station. He's like he got way off course with his crew, and then he sees this. He improbably sees this really hot girl he used to know.
That was freaky.
And then it's got a cool, like, really freaky, like, Lovecraftian thing going on partway through. So it's an interesting one, but again, second tier. Like, I would say watch all of these, but, this one's not on the list of, like, you have to watch this. Good Hunting. That one's pretty neat. That was, like, the kind of steampunky ancient China
cool,
one.
Yeah.
That one was pretty cool. That one's teetering for me. I don't know that I put it top tier, but it's close. It's damn close.
Yeah, it was cool.
It was a cool one and cool animation. It was Avatar style a little bit.
I just like the magic to technology's magic.
Yeah, it went straight
transition.
steampunk, which was interesting. But
yeah,
it was cool.
It was pretty cool.
The Dump, that one was interesting.
The Dump's short and to the point, so it's like
I appreciate
it's
it.
not top tier,
But it's not top
but it was
tier.
pretty fun.
Giant monster in a dump. Let's see, Shapeshifters. That was the one with like the werewolf soldiers. Just watch Dog Soldiers instead.
Yeah, they basically
it's not bad. This one's like second tier.
They
but
took like the exact premise from Dog Soldiers and then
it's Dog
made a
Soldiers.
short out of it.
Just watch that. That's a good movie. Helping Hand. So that one's not good at all. That one has like the worst science where.
Like that just irritated me because they did no research in how shit works in space at all.
Yeah, that's gravity, right? Basically.
Yeah, pretty much.
But it's just a space. It's not. I'm not even talking about it anymore. Fish Night. So that one was just weird. That one's where the two traveling salesmen get caught in the desert.
Oh yeah, that was wild.
And then
that's like cool animation though.
It is cool. That one's cool. That one is. I would still say that's second tier, but that one's cool for the animation. I love the style. I love the way they did it.
Yeah.
It'll infuriate you because one of the characters is a complete fucking moron.
Yeah.
And raped to death by a prehistoric beast. Lucky 13. So that's the dropship one. That's second tier. That's solid, but it's not.
Yeah, it's not
phenomenal.
super good.
Zima Blue. I'm gonna put that in must watch. That's
a wild one,
a
right?
wild one where like it's in the future and a cyborg who's like you think he's a cyborg with a like he's an artist, and he's making all these giant ridiculous pieces of art.
Yeah, he's like a super famous
and all
artist.
in the same color blue. And then I'm not going to say why. When you figure out why he's obsessed with that color blue, and he figures out why he's obsessed with that color blue, it's wild. It's just a wild story with a wild premise. Very cool.
I like the message in that too.
It was it was great.
Just like savoring a simple task.
It was great. So Blind Spot, that one's terrible. That one is in my don't even bother watching it. That's the stupid like cyborg like heist crew.
Oh my god! Whoever wrote the dialogue for that
dialogue
is
is so cringy.
The cringiest garbage. It's definitely somebody. I don't want to be a dick and say a woman wrote it, but it's definitely somebody who's never been around a bunch of dudes.
Yep.
Like it's probably somebody who like upper middle class kid who like went to college and never worked like a manual labor job in his life.
So Ice Age, next one. Terrible. Topher Grace, just stupid mini civilization. Like, just watch that episode of Futurama where Bender's got the civilization on him. It's better.
Just watch,
and it's the same fucking story.
Watch the episode of Futurama that rips off the episode of the Twilight Zone.
Yeah, it's the same fucking, which rips off that episode from The Simpsons, Treehouse of Horrors.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Just don't.
I've seen it plenty.
Alternate histories, like what would happen if you killed Hitler? There's a chuckle in there, but it's not great.
I don't know. It wasn't that good.
No, it got too stupid. Secret War. So this is in my top tier. This is one of my two favorites, I think. So Red Army soldiers.
The Russian ones. Yeah.
Right around World War II.
Yeah.
It looks like a little before, but it could be a little after. Right around World War II.
They have all World War II guns. That's how I'm dating.
Yeah.
And uniforms.
And they're basically out in Siberia dealing with some extra-dimensional monster bullshit. That one's excellent. The CG is great.
The CG is like amazing. The story is
great story.
The story is awesome. I want like a whole. There's a bunch of these where I want a whole series.
Yeah, I would watch a whole series of this. So Secret War, put it right at the top of your list. That one is awesome. I'd watch movies of that. I'd watch a whole series of that, like you just said.
Oh yeah, so good.
Let's see. So that was all the first season. Second season here, you got automated customer service. Terrible. Stupid vacuum bot goes crazy. Yeah, robots.
Oh yeah,
evil.
that was just kind of dumb.
Whatever.
And like, oh god, the character designs are just so ugly.
Ice, that one was stupid. The genetically modified kid one.
Oh yeah, that was dumb.
On the ice planet, that was just whatever.
I mean, it had kind of
It had a good message.
It had a good message, but it just wasn't.
But it's a whatever,
good,
right? Second tier. Pop Squad. That one's an interesting. I think I'd put Top Squad in the must watch it tier. Although it's a little preachy, so you know
Which
what?
one?
No, it's in my second
Which
tier.
one's Top Squad?
Pop Squad. It's the one where it's like film noir style, and the guy like is killing breeders' kids.
Oh yeah, that was kind of cool. Actually,
that one's kind of cool, but I'm gonna put that second tier because it's a little preachy in its message. That I didn't really appreciate that.
I don't think it was preaching a bad way.
Yeah, I don't know. That one's definitely teetering on the line for me.
I mean, if don't shoot children is preachy.
No, that wasn't the preachy part. Like I don't know, but what was really the message? Like,
I guess you take away whatever you want out of it.
Yeah, it's not bad. I would definitely.
It was
check
basically
it out,
one of those conundrums of what happens when. Eventually, people are going to like extend their lifespans to like near on immortality. And what do you like? You either have to like go out into space.
Yeah, you got to do what the Imperium does,
or you have to like regulate the population.
Both.
This is about regulating.
You're out in space and you're throwing people into the meat grinder. All right, so that one's pretty good. Snow in the Desert. That one was cool. I like that one. I put that one in my top.
That was cool. Yeah.
With the mercenary dude.
Oh yeah, he's like basically immortal.
Who's got immortality, and everyone's after him, and then like,
it's funny because the immortality is derived from his balls, and everybody wants his like cut his dick off basically.
Yeah. But great CG in that one too. Like that one's great.
Great
I like that one a lot.
CG, real good story. Like,
yeah, it's got a very good story too. I like. Snow
That's
in the
another one
Desert.
I would be stoked on, like a series of that.
That's top tier. The Tall Grass is pretty cool. It's very similar to the Tall
movie.
Grass.
Yeah.
I don't think they're based on the same story at all. It's all right. That one is second tier. It's a good Lovecraft style story. Don't get me wrong. Like just because things are second tier doesn't mean they're bad. It's just we'll say when it's bad, and we have right. All Through the House. So that one was cool, and it's
that
super
was
short.
awesome. It's super short. But
I would put that top tier.
That's some like Lovecraftian Christmas bullshit.
If you want to see what creepy Lovecraftian Monster Santa looks like, That's a good one, and it's so short. Like that's a must watch.
Yeah, no, it was really good. God, and like that fucking Santa was like hyper terrifying.
Yeah.
Whoever designed that thing, like really
Life Hutch. That was an okay story. That was the guy who goes to like the
and that stupid
the malfunctioning robot.
The malfunctioning robot was a little over the top though. Like, why would it attack everything?
I don't know why it was that psychotic. It's based on a Harlan Ellison story. Again, this one's good, but it's second tier.
Yeah.
For sure. The Drowned Giant, that's
a neat idea.
It's a neat idea and it's a neat poem.
Yeah.
But it's meh. It's whatever.
Well, nothing really happens. It's just
it's just kind of a neat poem that's animated. So then the 3 robots one I said I wasn't going to talk about. We're now in season 3. Bad Traveling. So this one was awesome. This is high up on my list. So this is another Neil Asher one. So Neil Asher is like high up on my list. This is the one with the giant crab and the pirates.
Oh my, that one
was freaking
that one is vying
awesome.
for my favorite.
That one and the Russian one are my 2 favorites.
Yeah, definitely.
So we've now told you our 2 favorites. So freaking awesome. Bad Traveling is great. It is a great freaking story.
I love 18 Dickety 6 seafaring stuff.
And it's just stylized enough.
And
it's cool.
Styled like that style. But I don't know. It's very fantasy too, though. I mean, there's a giant crab.
Let's see. The Very Pulse of the Machine. That's the one where she's wandering around on the surface of like IO.
Oh, that was dumb.
That one just.
I didn't like that one.
It was just kind of dumb. I didn't
stupid.
like it.
It was like confusing.
I mean, I like the
existential bullshit.
It was a good idea for existential bullshit. It just was. I don't think it was well executed. It looked cool.
It certainly wasn't entertaining.
Night of the Mini Dead. That one is great. Watch that one. That's another one that's just super short and it's freaking awesome.
Oh, that was awesome. It's like it's all done like miniatures, basically.
Super miniatures and super zoomed out. So you see like all the crazy zombie stuff play out, and it keeps going more and more over the top.
Well, it basically does like it kind of just plays out every zombie movie you've ever like scenes from every zombie movie you've ever seen, like in miniature.
And there's no like dialogue or anything.
No.
It's kind of like Sims speak. That one's cool. So
just like at the very beginning where it's literally Night of the Living Dead.
Night of the Mini Dead up there, and again a very short one. Kill Team Kill. I mean that's the one with the soldiers and the grizzly bear. That one's a very Marmite one.
I liked
it a lot.
I want to see like an Adult Swim series of that
because it's very. If you like those kind of
I
over
think
the
Tim
top,
Mouse did it.
Tim Mouse
actually.
did it.
Yeah.
Tim Mouse did it.
So I mean, it's in that style.
If you like those over the top Adult Swim kind of cartoons, you'll like it. You'll definitely should watch it.
I don't know. I want to resurrect those poor guys and make a whole show.
Oh, I would love to watch a show of that. But it's you have to like that style of thing.
Yeah, definitely.
Otherwise, you're not gonna like it. Swarm is super preachy and terrible.
No, my other thing about that last one,
Kill Team Kill.
Yes, that is someone who has hung around dudes and knows how they talk.
Yes,
like the military guys, like that. Their dialogue was wicked on point
for sure. So Swarm, terrible. Don't watch it. Stupid, preachy, alien bug monster. Like they should have realized from the beginning.
That was amazingly stupid.
You treat alien bug monsters like the Imperium treats alien bug monsters.
Yeah.
Death to the Xenos. Mason's Rats. That one's dumb.
Yeah,
and that's Neil Asher, man. Man, come on, Neil Asher. You didn't do me wrong until this one. That one wasn't great.
It wasn't terrible. It just wasn't good.
It just was meh. In Vaulted Halls Entombed. So that is kind of very on the nose Lovecraft.
It's the most on the nose Lovecraft I've seen in a long time.
But it's good. It's good.
Oh, it's really cool.
I think I'd put it top tier. It's like in the bottom of the top tier, but you have to watch it. In Vaulted Halls Entombed, check it out.
You can't even talk about it without spoiling it, so like just watch it.
And then Jabaro. So this is the same guy that, paid to have the naked girl run around.
Yeah.
It's also not very animated. It's a mess. It feels like a cool folk tale, right? Like I'd love to see that actual folk tale kind of animated better. Or animated at all.
The deaf guy, yeah.
Yeah, and like the girl that dances around is covered in gold. Like, it's just
weird.
It's just weird.
It's all style, like no substance.
It's just weird. So
basically,
going back, you're gonna want to watch Sunny's Edge. You're gonna want to watch Suits for sure.
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna want to watch Zima Blue. You're also gonna want to watch The Secret War. All phenomenal. Second one, Pop Squad is a maybe. Snow in the Desert is a definite.
Yes.
All Through the House for sure. Second season was kind of the weakest. And then the third, Bad Traveling, put it right at the top of your list with Secret War, freaking awesome.
Yep.
Night of the Mini Dead, again, just fun.
Hilarious.
Kill Team Kill if you're into that Adult Swim style, for sure. And then In Vaulted Halls, Entombed. So yeah, check these out.
That's it, broken down.
I know they're on Netflix, but there's probably other ways to get them if you don't have Netflix or don't want to give money.
It's called the internet, man.
They're very short. You can watch them whatever. I think the longest one is 18 minutes that we talked about. And
Yeah,
two of that's probably credits, so it's really probably 16 minutes. And most of them are more like 10 minutes. So
yeah, they're very consumable.
yeah, check these out.
I'm a sucker for shorts anyway. I love that shit. Because you can get up to so much wackier stuff if you don't have to write like a whole movie of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, very cool. Very cool. So anyway, we've talked long enough, and now it is time. It's time to get to
Devilman.
I'm Devilman.
Probably the greatest and most cursed dub.
So if you watch this in Japanese with the subtitles, you're gonna have a very different experience.
Yes.
So what the hell is Devilman? Well, how the hell do you not know what the hell Devilman is? But so we talked about Devilman Crybaby. Devilman Crybaby was on Netflix. It is just Netflix did. It was a Japanese studio that did it, but it's
just an updated version.
It's an updated adaptation of Devilman.
Devilman.
Devilman's an old Go Nagai comic, Mazinger Z, Get a Robo, Cutie Honey, like Go Nagai, right? So Devilman, it's all about Akira Fudo. He's a high school kid who's kind of a meek high school kid who
kind of pussy. Yeah.
Who well, not completely because he does stand up to bullies and stuff, but he's just kind of he's just meek.
Yeah.
But who falls in with Rio, a friend he had, who's like, no man, I gotta tell you about these demons, and then you got to become one with these demons so we can fight demons. And he's like, yeah man, sounds like a good idea. It's one of those very 70s contrived style plots going on.
Yep. I think this will all work out.
This will work out great. And that's basically what happens. And, the whole first... we're going to go over the plot real quickly because we're going to talk about other stuff because there's not much to the plot. This is basically... It's 2 OVAs. They're about 50 minutes to an hour a piece.
Yeah, in there.
This really only adapts the beginning of the manga, so you're not going to get a full story. Don't expect to get a full story. It's going to end and not be a full story. If you want the full story, again, go watch Devilman Crybaby. That will give you the full story.
Basically.
And that's in 10 episodes, so it's not like it's a huge commitment. So... You got those two. So we talked about Akira Fudo, Akira, and Rio. And then you had Miki Mikamura.
Yep.
His friend who he's staying with because his parents are missing because you find out they're dead because demons.
Every Go Nagai show has that.
Well, Antarctica demons. And these demons are very, the whole opening animation bit is really cool. The Lovecraftian monsters in the past because the demons create these weird Lovecraftian looking monsters.
Yeah.
Except with way more sloppy titties because... Going to guy
titties everywhere. Why you got so many titties stuck on your back?
And fur belts for cod pieces.
Yeah, it's not like censored everything back then. They just every chick had a fur diaper.
So this has got that. It's got really good 80s animation. And like I said, if you watch the sub, you're gonna have a different experience. It's wacky, but it's the dub, man. Oh my god, that dub! It was made in the 90s, early to mid 90s. The dub.
And
oh my god.
It must have been the script must have been written by a British dude because it's
they
all
about plasters.
Yeah, it's all American voice actors, but there's just weird British terms and
all
words
over the place.
in there, all over.
Maybe it's some Canadian problem.
Maybe it's just so fucking bizarre, and it's not very good. The voice acting is good, but
some of it is. The dialogue's terrible. Some of the voice acting is fine. Some of it's
I think it's more the dialogue.
Cheesy.
It's hard to say.
It's hard to tell.
But it's one of the funniest things I've ever seen.
Oh, it's great. You're doing yourself a disservice if you don't at least watch the dub once. So if you watch it and it's subbed because you want to kind of get the serious experience, go back and watch the dub. At least a little bit of it just to get the feel for it. It's freaking great.
It's
so cheesy.
Devilman is wacky to begin with, and when you add a wacky half-assed
it's wacky,
dub,
but it's serious business, right?
Yeah. I don't know. It adds to the experience for me.
So regardless, Akira fuses with the demon. Back to the plot a little bit, and then becomes Devilman. So he's got this demonic look. It looks great. He looks cool as shit. And then he tears demons limb from limb because that's what you do when you're Devilman.
Yeah, man.
Then
I'm Devilman.
He's got to fight Silene, and that's the most one of the most iconic fights from
Super
the manga.
Chicken Lady.
You don't get to all the weirdness that happens later with like the demons ruling the world and whatever else that happens in the in the manga. And again, Devilman Crybaby. So I don't know why they called it Crybaby. I guess they just wanted that as the subtitle. I mean, I know what it means in the context of the show, but
I think they definitely amped up that part of Akira's personality.
Yeah, maybe that's what they did.
Because like Akira wasn't that big of a pussy as he was.
It was a little more straightforward. Yeah. Regardless, it is just basically a straight adaptation of the manga. So you can get the manga, by the way. Now it is over here. It's 2 volumes. It's out. I haven't bought it yet because I'm gonna make an Uncle Go order one of these days.
Yeah,
but it is out. It does exist. You can buy it. Be Barnes and Noble. I can't find a goddamn Barnes & Noble that has both Volume 1 and 2. They always have one or the other.
Yeah, it's such a pain in the ass.
But it is out over here. It did get released. Go Nagai stuff is, starting to get some traction, which is good to see. Love Uncle Go. So I don't know. What do you think about it, like in general? What do you think about Devilman?
It's hard to separate out the nostalgia because I just remember watching it back in the day and it was so funny. But it holds up. Like watching again on the Blu-ray release, really good.
Yeah.
Like they really cleaned it up nice. Good animation. It's a classic story.
You got that ultra violence with the organs everywhere and all that weirdness.
Yeah.
A lot of cool monster designs.
Yeah, titties everywhere. Uncle Go likes titties.
Oh yeah, he does.
The thing with the Go Nagai is he was the first one to do a lot of that shit.
Yeah.
So you're seeing like the first iteration of a lot of tropes when you watch his stuff.
Clearly a Lovecraft influence. You're not going to tell me he didn't read something Lovecraft related.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Like
his stuff was
finding
actually,
demons frozen in Antarctica. Like
Lovecraft stuff was actually really big in Japan.
Yeah,
compared to other countries, like it was very popular. So,
that's why Berserker's a thing because it's also very Lovecraft.
Oh yeah, definitely. But yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, there's not much to say about it. It is a very stock, good 80s, early 90s. The second volume came out in like 1990. Good animation, good adaptation of Go Nagai's work. And, you should check those out when you get a chance, right? Like, a lot of his stuff was adapted in the 70s. And, like, it's old. It's very, very old. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just saying it's very old. It's hard to get past that sometimes.
Yeah.
There's a Devilman series from 72, 73 that's like 39 episodes. You could always watch that. That has to deviate a lot from the comic because this comic was way more
adult.
Way more adult than they would allow you to be on TV in Japan back in the day.
It's just cool to watch that old stuff, like all those like OG series, because, like I said, that's like where a lot of modern tropes came from.
And I'm surprised they didn't. What I'm most surprised about on this is they didn't finish it. Like I'm kind of surprised they didn't, because it probably would have only been another 2 episodes.
Yeah, exactly.
To finish it, I'm kind of surprised they didn't, because there's not a lot. I mean, it's 2.
Well, I mean, the first
it's
one
only
was,
2 volumes.
Yeah, the first one was in '87. The second one was in '90. I'm surprised during the '90s they didn't just rip it off.
I find that kind of strange that it never got.
Come on, Japan, get it together.
It probably just didn't make money for some reason. But who did the? Trying to see who did the animation. OVA production. Huh. Licensed by Madman Discotheque manga. The license has been around. Production company. I don't recognize them at all. Maybe that's the problem. Maybe they disappeared. They're still around. Oh, they've done nothing. Oh, they did the game animation for Tales of Symphonia. Hey, that's pretty dope. Tales of Symphonia was great.
That's pretty funny.
The only so they did Devilman, The Birth, Devilman, Demon Bird, which is the 2 we're talking about. So Demon Bird is either 89 or 90. I can't. Different places tell me different.
I read
things,
90,
so.
but it doesn't really matter.
And then they did some films. I don't even recognize any. It's Fair, then Partly Piggy.
Sure.
La Maison and Petit Cou. Gauche the Cellist.
Yeah, nothing.
There's some strange, tiny studio. So maybe that's the problem. Someone else must have worked on it, but whatever. It is what it is. I would check it out. It's available out there. Pretty easy to find.
I do yourself a favor. It's definitely worth your time.
Yeah, and like I said, if you want the more serious experience, watch it without the dub and then get a little bit of the flavor of the dub later. If you want to go old school, dive right in, balls deep, just watch it with the dub, man. Watch it with that English dub. So fucking funny.
I can't watch it without the dub now. I'm spoiled forever.
How could you not, right?
Anyway, that's pretty much it. So as usual, have a fantastic week, and we'll catch you next time.
Peace. Well, that's all for today, everyone. We'd like to thank all of you for tuning into another episode of the Gaijin Animation Appreciation Hour. Please remember to like and subscribe, and may your entertainment be always, well, entertaining.